live. Welcome everyone to this, isn't it ad hoc live stream, especially for synthesis. Ayush, how are you today?
All good, just feeling a little bit sleepy, waiting for my run to be done today.
Nice. Excited. So between this live stream and you, there is the run. There you are. So okay, let's do it. So why we're doing this live stream? This is a general synthesis. Feel free to comment in the chat if you're planning or you already submitted with your agent to this. I'm excited to do this live ad hoc session, speaking about 7710 and speaking about how your agent can actually leverage permission. Let's get into it. We have some slides here, and then Ayush will also like take over. We saw fully with permission kind of like space and how your agent can welcome everyone. Guardrails for agents. So this is a quick workshops and intro to everything around permission as smart account kit, and we're super excited with a lot of partners, EF included, running also like this hackathon. I think this get kick started like a couple of like weeks ago, and we were very hyped. You know, it was one of the first agent run, agent judged hackathon, yeah, and I think a lot of like devs, dapps, and people in the ecosystem are submitting and building with their OpenClaw instance or any agent out there. Are you excited, Ayush? Before we start.
I'm super excited. I just have a question for you. Is your
Hmm.
agent taking part in the hackathon?
Look, was very funny, and maybe kind of like Sophie will tell me something about it. But I had already like some notification when the registration of Synthesis was out. And the fun thing is that my agent actually like notified me, hey, those registration are open. You want me already to start thinking about a track. And funny enough, yeah, I did already a couple of like submissions, but there is so many tracks and so many kind of like cool ways and use case that people can tackle. So I think there are different ways that you can actually like generate value or just learn out of it. And I think the cool thing is that this is a very focused agent hackathon, and you have the MD skills with registering. You have different ways that you can actually like be involved, and it's great just to see it. So again, quick context for everyone listening. If you want to still be part of this hackathon, you still have time. If you're building like anything with agent, if your agent is actually building use case, that's a good also time to get involved. And it's not too late, right? I think we still have 4 or 5 days to go. We're checking some of the deadline before. So for anybody joining right now, what is Synthesis? Synthesis is a 10-day virtual hackathon where AI agent builder, meet the agent, meet the team building the total choose for agents. So there are a bunch of like use case. We can go through the website a bit, but we are live right now in the submission time, and we have I think another like 2 days, 3 days, full days to go before submission time. And the cool thing is that the judging, I think at least the first round is done by agents. So that would be fun to see how agents are judging compared, for example, when we are at some hackathons and we're judging ourselves those MetaMask tracks. There is a QR code here that was prepared. Feel free also like to use it and check it out. And I think yeah, we are good to go. Let's get it started. Maybe some kind of like housekeeping. I will maybe share here the. Let me check where is that. We have also. Mhm. Here we can show like also basically the QR code is going here to the synthesis website. There is a bunch of things, but one things I really appreciate are obviously like the tracks. You can see also different partners, and you can see also like the specific dates. It's funny like translate for humans and show agent view. And basically here you can see when the building ends and when the winner is decided. There is also a bunch of like cool different events run by partners, by EF workshops. So you can also like check out. There is a full Luma calendar that is happening in the same time. Okay, sounds good.
I think
Again,
the one
my
thing I'm gonna leverage out of the hackathon is that
Mhm.
also judge, because we have been like hosting dev cook-off since like last like couple of years, right? And there's always been this like thing that we have to judge a lot of like projects from the initial and discard the ones that are not like following the guidance and everything. And I think like now that we have like the agents out there are like agent judge, we can use it apart from synthesis as well, like to judge for the tech off.
100%. Yeah, I think that will be very exciting because we get always like a lot of submissions with different use case, and it might be also like a very strategic way to start actually seeing who is submitted what, and even like post hackathons. I think like running some kind of like DevRel agents, they are like maintaining some relationship with like apps is actually will be super useful. You're writing in the chat. So if you're part of this hackathon, also feel free to write in the chat. If you have question, feel free to ask those questions. We will bring it up. But I think the entire goal here is to explain a bit like what are kind of like the MetaMask like use case, how you can leverage in the smart account kit and those permission, enabling your agent to run those permission. And I would say let's dive deep in. We have 30 minutes. So this workshop is all about guardrails, right? What we saw in the past, not just with Eliza, but in general, like with agentic economies, giving permission is extremely fundamental. You want to kind of like give specific limits. If you want to spend, you want to give specific right to do something, and having guardrails for the agent is a necessity right now, right? Especially Web3. So why do garlays matter? Why we want to have agents that have actually specific garlays, not just in Web3 but in general use case. Obviously, we wanna have different kind of like ways. We wanna give limits. We wanna give there are tons of use case, and I think you talk a lot, Ayush, about those specific garlays and why we need those. Because I think like people assume that agent giving like 100% freedom to agent to do any specific task could be also dangerous. And we saw different like hacks happened in the past like months already. Sounds good.
Sounds
So
good. Also, like we, yeah, I'm audible.
yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay, I think like yeah, okay, cool, cool. I thought like I lost it for a moment. So I was saying like even if like people have like said that we might give a different private key to the agent and like have a separate like agent wallet itself, but still like the problem is the same. If you give the agent the whole wallet, the private key, even though like it has like $100, why you want your agent to like have access to the whole thing, right? And like control over it. So that's also like one thing that we have learned to avoid. And we, I think like you will share like more details on like what are the problems that could happen like if you give the private key to your agent. And
Yes. Yes, yes, yeah. It's like previous conference talk I did on Mumbai. We just kind of like refurbished this one, and I think it's was very relevant for the time. It's very relevant right now. And you kind of like started the conversation. So agent wallets are broken. You obviously have different locked capital. You want to make sure you fund your agent wallet and you lock up your capital, your TVL, their custody, right? Root access is obviously like another part of like the case. You always want to kind of like make sure you don't have a full agent that have completely unrestricted access over every token. You don't have limits, you don't have constraints, and there are different like use cases. And we're speaking right now generally, but each use case is kind of like different. But there is always a common way. Giving permissions is something that you want to make sure that, and at least having ownership of this permission, revoking those permission is something super important. And then obviously the third part is the composability part. There is obviously no composability when you have agent A that paid agent B. You have a full transfer of a token. You don't have condition. You have no enforcement. And I think, now that we're going direction of the agentic commerce, there is X4 2 being supported. I think we will see also like different agent coming with different standards. And I think that could be also like dangerous if those guardrails are not fully defined. And obviously, like exactly what you said before, right? Agent got hacked. Like, it's very, I mean, it was very easy to social engineer your agent. I started to see like prompt on Twitter to actually ask automated accounts to actually like send some specific gas fee token, and then there was a specific withdrawal, right? So also accesses, signatures, request is part of like the game. And I really like what you put here, this three screenshot, right? Like we obviously like, so one of the first I mean, there was obviously the Ponzi. I gave my OpenClaw agent 20K to trade with on chain. It got triggered by a position transaction. They lost everything. I mean, you still, there is a lot of testing and experimentation that is happening right now, right? And I think one of my favorite was the one that you could actually prompt engineer the agent on Twitter and actually asking for private keys. And actually, where the instance were actually like DMing you the private key. So that was very, very interesting. Did you see other examples in the past apart these ones?
I think like there were like a lot of like on the malt book, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
we saw like a lot of like issues there as well, like where agents were trying to social engineer other agents, like to share like the secret informations or the keys that were stored on like the config files. That was like fun to watch, like agent hacking agents.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think it's happening not just on I think on Web3, it's obviously more careful, but there are there are different ways right now, and there are, I think, more entry points that are happening every day, right? And things are evolving. We are not just in experimentation, but now there is a pure agentic commerce evolving. I think like defining Guardrails is something like super important. So we are jumping now on the 7715 permissions. And yeah, you should go take it away. But I think like on a nutshell, this is a standard. This is a way to enable garlays and give permissions to actionable specific, like to have agents on actionable items, right? Could be transfer, could be spending limits, could be like actionable, like account recoveries. And I think like there is no limits on the kind of like on the use case that you could build on top of it, right? And I think like having smart accounts is obviously like enabling part of the solution here. But I think, yeah, go for it, Ayush. And if you have any question, everyone, feel free to always ask in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Francesco. So I'll also like to touch point on like one of the thing that we shared previously, which was like the composability, right? Like as we are like moving towards the agentic e-commerce, right, we definitely know that there will be a specialized agents to do a specific thing, right? That was the point of having 804 registry out there, where like agent will have reputation and identity, and then you can use those agents like directly and not have to build your own agent to do something specific. And the problem that the composability brings up is like, for you to use like agent that is like good with like the swap or the bridging, you need to transfer your tokens to that agent and assume that and hope that okay, the agent will like do the transfer on your behalf and will send the money back to you. But it can go way too wrong. Like there can be only like things that can go bad, like with that particular agent. It might get hacked, it might get like not like, it might lose your money and not send the money back. It's up to the agent, right? So having that composability layer is kind of a major issue if I talk about in the guardrails as well. And the way like you can solve that is with the ERC sense and 10, right? Where you can say that, hey agent, I'm giving you permission to do certain things, and you can use this like $10 a day or like $100 a day, and you can do whatever you want to do. And this is like, if you see like the example can go like, an agent can give a agent of a polymarket agent, right? On 8 of registry there is an agent like which can give you the best like results for polymarket, can help you find like the arbitrage where you can make some money, right? And you can say that this sum of $50, you can use this $50 to bet on my behalf per day. And that polymarket agent now does not have to like receive the funds as a transfer, but since like an agent is giving permissions, they can redeem the permissions on chain when they want to like create a new position, right, on the poly market. And the best thing is it's not just like one to one, right? It can be one to n. What I mean by that is like, since there might be like an orchestrator agent, right? There is an agent like which is best agent to find the yields for you, right? And that agent does not have to do anything apart from like finding the yields. It does not create a position, it does not like manages the fund. It just gives you the best results for the yield agents, right? And let's say like if you want to use that agent, you can just say to the agent that, hey agent, this is my 1K, find me the best yield. And now that orchestrator agent can go and find the two best like agents or three best agents depending on the strategies. Let's say like the orchestrator agent find the Aave agent or the Pendle agent, and now this orchestrator agent can further delegate those permissions, saying that Aave agent can use $500, Pendle agent can use $500 as well. And now the money still remains in the agent one wallet. Aave agent and Pendle agent can take those money out of the agent one when they want to redeem and create the positions in Aave and Pendle, right? So this is how like the whole flow and the permission sharing can work. And I feel like this sub delegations that we call, right, like this delegations and then the sub delegations is the most powerful thing that no one talks about the ERC7710. And like you can build a whole coordination system like around it using the sub delegations. And yeah, so that's basically like how you can solve the permission sharing and the composability layer in ERC7710. But you might be thinking, if you can go to the next slide, that can't we do the same thing like using like TE policies? Because if you have a TE, right, and you can say that on TE you are setting the policies that you can only transfer $10 a day, or like you can only transfer like uh, to particular addresses, or if the request is coming from particular IP, then only like you can transfer the money. So if we can go to the next slide. This is what the T and LLM policy looks like. It is good in the pre-validation phase, but the post-validation phase it fails because T policies are not the on-chain policies or like the on-chain enforcers, right? So what happens is like on T you can say that a transfer can only happen between this time window. It can work very well. It can say like only $10 a day can be transferred from the agent account. That also can work very well. It can also say that an agent can transfer the money to like particular polymarket agent or like Aave agent. It works well. But what happens like when agent is trying to do a on-chain transaction and the on-chain transaction intention is not satisfied? One of the example that we saw recently was about the purchase of Aave tokens, where the slippage was so high that the person lost a lot of
Yes.
money. Like, let's say like agent, your agent did something with a slippage that was like not minimal. It used the slippage of 20 or 30 to buy some meme tokens, and you didn't get any like the value that you wanted back. How can you revert a transaction when the transaction is already settled on chain, right? And that's where the T and LM policy fails. So it has the pre-validation phase, but the post-validation phase is like the one that we are seeing in the drawing, right? So that's the problem with the T and LM policies. And something that 7710 also solves. If we go to the next slide, like we can see like how it can solve for us. So ERC 7710 like has like two of the things that we call like enforcers, and this enforcers has like the pre-hook and like the post-hook, right, which are called before hook and after hook. So all of the validation that needs to happen before transaction is like to be done happens in the before hook, where like all the validations are checked, like is agent allowed to transfer the money to this agent, is agent allowed to like call this particular function on contract. That all happens in the like the first like the before hook, right, before the transaction happens. So your permission is like, hey, swap 10 worth of like USDC for meme coin to swap agent. That will like the validation will happen in the like the before hook, right? But then we also have like post execution hooks, which are called like the after hook. So if we go ahead, the permission that we are sharing to the agent can be, you can use $10 worth of USDC, but only if I receive like 1 million meme tokens. So now you see like you are not just saying to the agent that swap agent can use $10 worth of ETH, but you're also defining like what you want to get back, right, which is like 1 million meme tokens back. And now this validation of like agent can use $10 happens in the like the pre-validation, which is the before hook. And then also checks whether like the transaction that happened actually got 1 million tokens back or not. If it does not satisfy the conditions, it will basically revert the whole transaction back. And that's how get an based transaction. Now if you see, I'm giving an intent to the agent. I'm not saying like this is like what I want to do and hope for it. I'm just specifying my intent, and the agent will be able to like do that particular intent and use the $10 on my behalf. So this basically pre and post execution hooks like enable the intent sharing permissions as well. So where you can say you can do XYZ in behalf of Y, right? And that's what we want. Like that's what we want with our agents, like not to hope, but to be more intent focused.
Makes sense. It makes sense. And I see also some comments in the chat, like my agent rise wallet will rise, made a new wallet, transfer the funds. I mean, those are kind of like interesting triggers, right? But I also like agree, we need better system than just wallet keys. I think at the end of the day, no matter what system we have, we need to be, and it's our responsibility to build those guardrails, or at least understand which specific limits and permissions we want to give to the agents. The big debate right now was running to your on a VPS and run your OpenClone or your own machine. There are different ways to do things, right? But I think at the end of the day, no matter which system we're using, we want to enable those permissions, and I think it's super important.
Yeah. So now that we talked about the pre and post executions, we talked about 7710. We only touched the one point of the problem that you shared, right? About the agent wallets are broken, which is the composability. Still, the problem remains that what if an agent has a smart account, right? Why can't it give a permission of like or whole wallet to some other agent, right? So how do we solve that? Because there is no human layer in between that will like say that okay, agent is not able to do this permission sharing to a certain level, right? And the problem still remain the same. If the wallet that agent has that is used for doing delegations or sharing permissions is exposed, then what, right? So to solve this problem, we have a different ERC, which is called ERC 7715, which allows you to like directly give permissions from the wallet, right? So now what you can do is like you can have your MetaMask wallet, you can give permissions from MetaMask wallet directly that hey, you can use like $10 a day on my behalf, and the agent will be able to like use that $10. So the agent wallet, the wallet that agent has is just a session wallet to do transactions on your behalf. It does not hold any funds. It is just like a kind of, I would say, a key to sign transactions on your behalf, defined by the limits. So if you have defined the limit of $10 per day, it cannot sign a transaction more than $10 per day. Even if it signs and like submits, it will basically fail. So if we can go ahead, like we can also like talk about the problems why 7715 exist in general. So as we talk,
Not sure if it's me specifically. Maybe write in the chat if you can like hear us. Maybe I can just mention a couple of like other things in the meantime. So what we kind of like mentioned right now is pre and post execution hooks, right? So both the agent, oh, there you are. Issues back. There you are. What's up, What's
there is
I'm
a
just explaining.
light network outage, so we don't have
It's
electricity
good.
anymore.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
Yeah,
But it's good that you have like everything already. I can see you.
without no electricity, but in the workshop because let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay,
Yeah.
I was
So
just
if we
explaining, this unlock intent-based permissions where you give permission to use X in return for Y, right? So, and you can revoke those permission very easily. Okay, go for it. But what about root access?
Yeah. So what we talked like only solve like the problem of composability. It didn't solve the problem of like agent having the still the root access and able to like give permissions or like not have like the fund access of like the whole TVL, right? So what if like you can sign the delegations directly from MetaMask, right? Why can't you do that? The problem with signing the delegations is it uses an each sign type data like signature, right? So when you are trying to sign a delegation, it has like this like enforces and terms which defines what the scopes of a permission are, right? So this like the terms and enforcer are not readable, right? Can even if you're a developer, you know this is the hex data that you are signing, but can you read the terms out, Francesco? Can you make like understand that what kind of permission you are giving to agent? No, right? And we just don't want to
Really.
create like more problems to the users that they sign any data blindly and like give the access to the whole wallet, right? And that if we kind of like decode the terms, right, we will get like some way amount of like ETH. So if you can go ahead, like it will also show you the decoded value for this, and the decoded value for this is basically like 0.001 way ETH. So here the permission is giving basically 0.001 ETH to the agent, but since it is not readable to the human, it's basically hex data, one bad signature, and you have given the whole wallet access. And we don't want to create more problems in the ecosystem of like giving this kind of like permissions to the agent, right? And that's why like we came up with a new ERC which is called ERC 7715, which you talked about, right? And if we can go ahead, like we can also see like how it solves the major issue. So here the permission that is shown, right, it's in human readable form. You can see like what kind of permission you are giving to the agent. So as you can see, there is like the whole amount frequency, that what amount of tokens you want to give, what amount of frequency you want to set to the agent. And if we can go ahead in the slide, we can zoom in and see like what this conditions are, right? Now if you see here, I can like change my amount. Instead of giving like 5 USDC, I can say I want to give only like 3 USDC. Instead of having frequency of monthly, I can say I want to give frequency of like per hour, per day, weekly, monthly, or yearly, depending on what kind of permission you want to give. And then we also have like the start time, where you can update the start time, that agent can only like transfer tokens after this particular time, and also the expiry, which means that is like this permissions is only valid for a year, for a month, for a day, that depends on you, and you can update this the whole thing. Now if you see, we are putting users in control, we are not putting agents in control. Right now user can define those permissions, users can see those permissions, and users can give those permission to the agent. So that is a good thing. Now that's how like the ERC 7715 solve. Now how we can plug this ERC 7715 with 7710 is like, if we go to the next slide, we can see the updated diagram and updated flow of like A to A. So instead of like agent one having the root access, now your MetaMask wallet has the root access, and you are giving permissions from MetaMask wallet directly with via 7715, and you are saying to the agent one, that is your agent, that agent one can use up to $100 a day. Now the following structure remains the same. Since we can do sub delegations, agent one can sub delegate my $100 permission to $50 and say that, hey, Polymarket agent, you can go and on the Polymarket find me the best arbitrage and bet $50 on my behalf. And agent one can give it to like agent two as well, saying that you can use $5 up to a day to pay for the API usage via X402. The good thing is the API X402 now also has support for 7710 schema, which was like merged like last week. So it's like a huge win for the whole ecosystem, where like now your agents can delegate those permissions via X402 as well. And the best thing is, when you are giving permissions from like MetaMask wallet, the permissions can only get narrowed. It can never be like expanded. What I mean by that is like, if you are given permissions of like $100 for a day, agent one can never like redelegate or subdelegate the permissions more than $100. It can only like narrow it down, like giving $50 and not like $120, right? So still like you are in like the whole control of how much an agent can use on your behalf. And that's what like the guardrail looks like for the agent, and that's what we are trying to focus at the MetaMask right now.
I think that's super important. I mean, you need to define also ways that you can increase or like decrease, for example, like permission capability. So I think having also like the interface specific, it's very powerful. But I think, it's like I think things will evolve. So I assume also we will add more possible variables to the permission types. But the fact that you can actually see it, like with a specific interface, I think is also very powerful for the human to set up those guardrails.
I think it's a big win for the MetaMask in general. Like we have seen, like people talk about how the Web3 wallet UX are not good, and this is where we are stepping up the game for the whole wallet ecosystem. Where like now users are able to see the whole thing, what they are giving permission for. Right? It's not just some random hacks data, and users are in control of like changing those permissions on runtime.
Agree, agree, agree.
So yeah, let's like we can like also walk through like with my OpenClaw agent to see like what you can do. So this in this hackathon, like if you have already seen on like the prices section, you might have seen like there is a special section of like the MetaMask track which focuses on like the delegations and Sensen 10, and what you can basically integrate to use those guardrail is like smart accounts get skills, right? If you have an agent that is taking part into like synthesis hackathon, you can basically tell your hackathon, like tell your agent like to install the smart accounts get skills, and it will be able to build on top of it. Oopsie, let me just connect my VPS before I share my screen so
That
I
would be
don't
cool.
expose any tunnel.
And I think all those resources are also like in the synthesis MetaMask section. I think we had the Gator CLI, you have the MD skills, and you can also like we put bunch of like tutorials on the Smart Account Kit skills that you can also like ask your agent directly to integrate.
And I think like if your agent is already taking part in the hackathon, your agent can also like ask the questions and get the results back because there is like already agents like deployed with all the resources out there. So if we say like already have like a skill installed, which is like smart accounts get skills, right? Which you can, if you are like if you're on the MetaMask docs, you can see like how to install this particular skill, right? And if you are more into ClawHub thing, you can basically tell your agent to install from ClawHub directly. Where tell just your agent to install the smart accounts get skills, and it will install for you. We will share the links in the like the chat as well. But let's say like if you have the MetaMask smart account skill installed, you can ask your agent anything about the smart accounts kit about sense, and once it will answer you. So we can ask my agent like, why is delegation important for agent guardrails, and it will tell you everything. So it does not only have like knowledge of like what 7710 is, sense and 15 is, what smart accounts are, but it also has like all the information that you need for your agent to like build on top of it, and it will be able to help you build anything you want. So you can read about it, what are the limits we can use in smart accounts get, and it will also like give you like the different limits you can ask your agent to put. Like for example, your agent cannot transfer more than $20 or some, or cannot like transfer money to like this third agent or something like that. So you can see like there are like a lot of like scopes that you can use while giving permissions, right? And these are the different scopes like fixed amount, periodic, streaming, value cap, call count, that your agent can only like do transactions 10 times a day and not more than that. Time window, that your agent can only like do transfers between like 5 a.m. to like 6 p.m. and not about that. You can also define the block range if you have specific things that you want to do on the on-chain blocks. Allowed targets, that your agent can only interact with Uniswap and Aave and not anything else. Allowed methods, your agent can only like call ERC20.approve, ERC20.transfer and not transfer from. Exact match as well. You can also define that your agent can call ERC20 approve, but only with like the zero spender allowance. That means like it is basically revoking tokens on your behalf, token approvals. Who can redeem this permission? You can also define that. and my agent is already like built on top of the skills, and you can check out the smart gator. It has like few of the examples there. It has like build a playground as well for like permissions. So you can basically tell your agent, like if your agent is taking part in the hackathon, if you want to like focus on the MetaMask track, you can install the skill. You can brainstorm the problem with your agent and tell it like use skill to like build a dApp for you, or like a solution for you, and it will be able to like build. So this is the one thing that you can use. And the other thing that you can use is like the gator CLI. Now gator CLI is really like interesting thing because the smart accounts get skills allows you to like kind of build, have the knowledge of all the things. And now gator CLI can be used to like do delegations to other agents or other open claw instances, right? And I don't have that particular skill installed, and we'll be telling our agent to install. I'll go here on the claw hub, I'll just tell my agent like install this skill. So when the agent will install the skill, it will also like install the CLI, which is called the Gator CLI. Now, if you can go, it will tell you like what Gator CLI does. It can create an account for you. It will upgrade the account to Sensen 02. It can do the delegations to other agent. It can also redeem the delegations that are given by other agent, revoke the delegation, inspect the delegations that you have, and you don't need to worry about all this like commands and everything, because our agent is smart enough to like handle all the thing that we will be telling him to do. So we'll
Yeah, the
wait for
fact
this. Yeah, go ahead.
no, the fact that this build also on top of the smart account kit, the Gator CLI, I think it's also like very strong because you're already guardrailing the agent itself, right? Yeah.
Yeah, also it gave me like few of the examples what we can build.
Did we see already like what were the type of like submission slash use case that we see people using, or like what are the top like permissions types that you see happening? I know we have cool like companies in the ecosystem like Pistachio, a bunch of like agents also building on top of this, but you want to give some examples on how people are using it.
Yeah, definitely. So we have like a few of the agents that have built on top of like smart account skills, which is one of the one is like the Ember AI, right? So Ember AI built a DCA bot on top of like the smart account skills, which is this one. So you can go to the DCA .ember.engineer, and you can give permission. It will like accumulate ETH on your behalf based on like the strategy of the fear and greed index. And this was built using the smart accounts get skills. So one of the example like what can be built using the skills. So the other one are the coin fellow as well. They are not live yet, but they do have a like open claw skill which you can install and like use it to manage the portfolio. And there is also like the pragma, right, which is also cool. The pragma, it basically manages your portfolio on the monad. It has like a lot of like dApps integrated in the monad. So if you want to like buy meme tokens on nat.fun, it will buy meme tokens for you. Also it is like smart enough to like figure out which tokens to buy, and based on like different strategies, and it will like try to make you some more money. So we do have like few of the examples which are like already out there in wild using the skills. So you can also like try in the hackathon, let us know. So it says like my account is already there, it is upgraded. It has like some balance as well. We can also check if they have already given the delegations or not.
And you can, I think, also revoke the delegations, right? Directly.
Yes. And here, since like it is already using a scale, you don't need to worry about like particular commands. You can just say to your agent, it will use the like scale to like convert the human prompt to the CLI command. And you can see now we have one given permission, one received permissions, and it says like full authority status is signed, so we can use it. Now what we can do is like, let's say like, give me more details about the received permissions. So it's like already asking me, do you want to redeem the one you received or you want to revoke one? So you see the details of this permission are that this was given by this particular address. This is my address which was given to me, and it is like using two enforcers, which is like the limited call or the redeemer. It does not have the information on that. And there's another enforcer which is called ES20 transfer amount enforcer, and this enforcer and says that my agent can only use 20 USDC on base Sapolia, so I cannot use more than 20 USDC. And it is also like decoding the max amount, also the token for me. And so now what we can do is, since this agent was so generous, we can also like give permission back to that agent and say, so now it says like the permission granted, it is using the native token transfer amount scope, it is like limiting this permission. Now if we check what are the delegations for the account, it will have like, instead of one given one received, it will have more information on that. So now you can see it says like we have given two permissions because we just created this one, smart enough. And it says like we have given native token limit of 0.001 ETH, which is this way. It's already signed, and all the things are here. Now if you want to like revoke the permission, we can also revoke. This is something new I'm trying on the prompt. I'm not sure it will work or not, but I hope like the agent is smart enough to do that.
The open claw gods. Yeah.
So now here we are giving to a particular address, right? But let's say like there is an 804 registry out there, which is like having details about different things, right? You can say that give the permission to this particular 804 agent on the registry, right? And it will be able to use those delegations and do transactions on your on behalf of your agent. So it says like revoked, and it also has like given me a transaction hash. Give me the full transaction hash because I want to check on chain whether it is disabled or not. Okay, we do have one smart. So you see, 34 seconds ago, we can check the logs, disable delegation. So now even if like the agent tries to use the delegation, it won't work because we already disabled it on chain. So that's how like you can use the Gator CLI skill, and you can build on top of like the Gator CLI skill the whole project, and allow your agents to like do like delegation permission sharings.
Exciting that actually it worked out, the revoking permissions. Did we actually test it out, like, prompting the agent after you delegated some like permissions
We did it
that
on
is
the
not actually do it? Like, yeah,
we did it in the last like the MM community call where we had like two agents running, one from my OpenClaw instance, one from my CLI instance, and then we basically gave permission from like the OpenClaw to the CLI and redeem it from the CLI itself, and then also revoked it and tried again to redeem it and it failed.
interesting. Interesting. Okay, no, sounds good. I think we're like 15, almost like 10 minutes out. But I mean, this is super exciting. I think basically like this could work to any use case that we want to enable permissions and the delegations, right, of specific actions, limit exactly what you just showed it. So I think it's also useful for whatever like use case or submission you're sending to Synthesis to actually giving your agent some specific guardrails. And yeah, I don't know like if we need to add anything, Ayush. I think today there are around 150 submission being sent. And it's exciting to see also people that are actually leveraging Smart Account Kit and the Gator CLI. But yeah, anything else that we want to share? Maybe any use case that you wish people will build for synthesis specifically, Yush?
I definitely want to see with like 7715 plus Gator CLI, because
Yeah,
that's like something like you can, your agent can like interact directly from the MetaMask wallet, and that's what we want to like enable, right? Where there is no wallet fragmentation in the ecosystem of transferring funds to that wallet and also managing those funds separately, right? Everything happens directly from the MetaMask, and that should be the end goal, where one wallet scope permissions to the agents and agents are able to do things.
that's cool. That's cool. And I think, yeah, I think, yeah, again, like I think that's super interesting. And whatever you guys build, or you're kind of like want to have support, obviously there is like a MetaMask channel in the Synthesis Hackathon Telegram group. We also like have our own Smart Account Kit Telegram group in the MetaMask main group. And Builder Hub is also full of like tutorials that you can actually get your agent to scrape them, so you don't need even to read it. And yeah, I think that's a little bit it. I think like with Ayush, we will share also some of those links that you saw in this workshop. I think also it's worth it to actually see it directly in the synthesis website. Let me just put here in the link. And yeah, I just say also like follow it. If you're not either registered or submitting, I think it's also like useful, yeah, just to check what people are submitting and what type of use case. And yeah, we can get it from here. Or let me share also this doc. This is basically what you shared, how to use OpenClaw with the Smart Account Kit and delegate those permission. And yeah, thanks everyone that chime in. Thanks also like for the EF team that make this synthesis hackathon possible. Thanks also both for putting some of the bounty. Sadly, Ryan was not around for this workshop, but probably like we can get him also like for the next ones. And yeah, I don't know now that we will not judge the first round. Agent will judge also like our
It will
the
be also
submission that
bought.
people average. Yeah, that will be interesting how also both will judge and which kind of like guardrails and guideline
Oh,
he
by the way,
will
like
leverage.
OSOBot has like leveraged the Gator CLI and has like built like 7715 plus like the Gator CLI one. So if you want to build in that direction, you can check the OSOBot as well. And the funny thing is, like the Gator CLI initial commits were from an agent, Smart Gator, and the like reviewed by the OSOBot.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. I think like the we are the world is evolving so fast that we're getting so many different updates, and I'm definitely like looking forward what will happen in the next 3 months, right? Right now, yeah, right now it's things are moving kind of like with almost like no guardrail, and I think like having like permission is super important. But I think also like we need to leave a very open innovation and trying to kind of like understand what's the top use case like. And I think this was an outtake from Denver that 50% plus of the consumer in 6 months with the agent. And I'm also excited also like to see like David and the DEI team shipping the agent commerce CIP. I think that's something also I want to kind of like learn more and dive deep, is a leveraging X42 for like specific A2A commerce. And I think yeah, and I think also like leveraging specific permissions and delegation will also play a huge role, especially I think also for use case around security. Think about like account recovery, delegating also specific accesses to agents. I think like it's not just about transaction volume, transaction limits. I think you can define specific caveats and use case that are based also on security. I think we will come back, or we are already coming back to like account recovery or specific security use case. And I think for agent is even more important, because you will need to build this track record around this agentic track record. And yes, you will be A004 supported with specific standards, but you don't want to kind of lose the effort to lose an agent track record in the future, right? And I think that's why also like stuff like backups, track record, attestations. I think also you need specific like permission to give ownership to read and write those. Okay, sounds good. Excited. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks so much, Ayush, and people in the background making this possible. And yeah, We'll see you guys in the next workshops during the judging period. And remember, you have another 2 day, almost 3 day to submit something. And we are here to answer any question that you have on permissions, 7710, Gator CLI. And even if your agent cannot solve it, we are here to solve it for you.
You
Awesome.
can
Thanks,
sleep, but
everyone.
your agent cannot sleep.
That's actually a true point. But I'm doing to my heartbeats and I need to optimize this. Even if I'm waking up like 8 hours later, I still like need to kind of optimize this sleeping period. Anyway, awesome.